morning. I'd like to call this regular meeting for December 19, 2024 to order. If you could please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and salute to the state flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico. This is a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Thank you. Do we have anyone for public input? Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I always skip that. It's minor, but major. Next item is going to be approval of the regular meeting agenda.
Second.
Some motion by Commissioner Edwards, second by Commissioner Brown. Do we have,
Still my name.
And he says he's gonna miss us.
Is that right? Just can't even remember her name.
do we have any discussion besides that one? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, now we're ready for public input. During this portion of our meeting, we welcome your suggestions and want to hear your concerns. This is not a question and answer period. Speakers will be limited to 5 minutes. Any individual who would like to discuss an item in more depth may request to be placed on a future agenda. Request forms are there in the county manager's office. Okay, sorry about that. Come on up.
Excuse me. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Jody Pena-Osment, resident, taxpayer, retired county employee. I am here before you, the commission, to voice my concerns and question the following. I know this is not a question time. Number one, what on earth is going on with so many employees resigning their positions within or under the direction of the county manager? All the former employees I have spoken to did not leave on their own accord. I worked for the county for 43 and a half years, and never did I witness dedicated, hardworking, talented, knowledgeable employees leave because of poor leadership. Have any of you commissioners spoken to any or all of these employees that have resigned? Number two, the road department, which is still so very dear to me, having worked there a full 2/3 of my life, why hasn't an experienced road director, administrative assistant, and the warehouse purchasing positions been replaced? Those 3 positions are vital to the day-to-day operations of the road department. Or are the plans to eventually phase out the road department and contract out all the work? Number 3, why do you have someone being paid approximately $90,000 a year to oversee all the directors? All directors should be answering to the county manager. On the county's webpage, it reads, the board appoints a county manager responsible for the day-to-day operations of the county. The county manager supervises the work of appointed department heads and is responsible for the appointment of non-elected department heads with concurrence of the board. As I see it, each non-elected department already has a director, which are very well paid to do their job. Someone to oversee these directors is both redundant and a waste of taxpayers' money. Number 4, why have some local vendors lost county business? Some of these vendors are the heart of the county. They too have families to support. Business should be spread equally amongst all local vendors. There's plenty of business for everyone to be utilized. Let's not just make it about cutting back on purchase order requests to save time. Mr. Chair, members of the board, it's your responsibility for the overall management, the county government operations. I truly hope you all look into everything I have brought before you today and fix the wrong that's taken place, and I truly hope all of these questions and concerns don't fall on deaf ears. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else for public speaking? Anyone else for public speaking? Okay, thank you. Moving on to next item of the agenda, presentation, property tax division, county assessor, and I don't see her, so we move on.
Yes, sir, we'll move that to general.
Okay, moving on to recognition of Grant County employees for their years of service, county manager.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, our first one is for 15 years for Kim Dominguez, our Director of Corey Caminos, and Andrew will present that.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Kim, I would like to thank you for being such a valuable member of our team. 15 work anniversaries is not just about the number of years you have spent on your job, but it's a testament to your hard work and dedication and your commitment. Thank you for your tireless work every day. Kim's historic knowledge and leadership has the Corte Caminos program working efficiently. She's always willing to step up when asked, and even if she's driving a bus or dispatching, she always steps up. She's a true leader to her department and is a great asset to Grant County. Thank you for your hard work. We have an award here for you.
Our next award is also for 15 years of service with the county, and that is Deputy Jacob Martinez, and the sheriff will present that award.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I have had the honor of working with Sergeant Jacob Martinez for 11 years of those 15 years. When I retired, he continued to work for the county, so I wasn't able to work for them. But in working those 11 years with him, he's been an asset to this office. He oversees our civil process division, which is very crucial to my office. He takes care of ensuring that documents are served, which are the subpoenas and writs, and doing transports. He's always been very thorough. If there's ever any issues, he brings them forward and we address them, but he has been a very good asset, and I look forward to working with him for the next however long he decides to stay. And I thank him for everything that he does day in and day out, and his leadership with his group that he has. He's done a really good job, so I want to thank him for that.
Thank you.
And on that note, I'd like to, well, the county's going to present him with something, and then I'd also like to present him with something, but I'll let the county go first. So this is a certificate of appreciation for 15 years of service to Jacob Martinez, and then they're giving you that's from the county. And on behalf of the sheriff's office, I'd like to present him with a certificate. I can't read, I can't see, so. On this certificate, it's a certificate of appreciation presented to Sergeant Jacob Martinez on this 19th day of December 2024 for your 15 years of your devotion and dedicated service to the Grant County Sheriff's Office and the citizens of Grant County. Then we are also giving them a mug, but if you'll open it so that they can see it.
Nice.
Grab a picture real quick.
So, thank you, thank you both, and congratulations on 15 years. Moving on to item C, it's going to be recognition of elected officials.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, it's my honor and privilege to present a small token of our appreciation to Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Billings, and Commissioner Edwards for your 8 years of service to Grant County. I really appreciate your vision, your commitment, and your hard work over those years. You've held me to task, you've given me great ideas, and it's honestly been a pleasure to work with all three of you, and I'm truly going to miss working with you, and I know that everyone else that has had the pleasure of interacting with you over those 8 years will also miss you. So we do have a plaque and, imagine that, a cup to present to each one of you.
Yeah. There's your plug. Do it now, bud.
Do it.
8 years now.
Just do it. I keep forgetting to turn off my mic. All three of you, one by one. I don't know, whatever you guys want. You want to get up here with them? I just thought they were getting away from us. So, just want to say thank you, guys. I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit here. After I finish talking, next meetings, we have no public input, so they don't come back at me, but. No, you know, it's been I've been up here 6 years, almost exactly 6 years, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. You know, Commissioner Brown, we, one thing is, and you guys well know it, that as commissioners, you're pulled in many different ways. You know, you hear so many sides of one story, and I appreciate how each and every one of you handled what you did. Commissioner Brown, one thing I never had to worry about sitting up here was the financial pieces. I think every commissioner that comes up here brings something special with them. And I really appreciate that. You know, I knew that you'd look into it, that you're going to dig into it and your expertise in that area. I learned so much from you, so much from you. And I really am honored and humbled to have served with you and had the discussions we've had just to make Grant County a better place. And you opened up my eyes to just like each and every one of you. being open-minded about certain things and listening and doing research. And sometimes when I do research, I would reach out to any one of these commissioners and get their thoughts. So Commissioner Brown, I really appreciate what you brought to Grant County, and I thank you, and I appreciate all the support that you have given me through these years and teaching me.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Very good.
Commissioner Edwards, same for you. I really appreciate everything you've done. I've appreciate the discussions we've had. But one of the things that I really appreciate the most from you is, at the time, maybe you didn't seem that I was happy, and I really wasn't, but when our hospital was going through what it was going through, and meeting after meeting and after meeting, but that showed the dedication that you had, not only for our hospital and the employees, but for the public. And, anything about the hospital that I needed to ask, I knew that you had the expertise in it, the time you spent there, the time you did that, plus a lot of other things, and just, I appreciate you, and I appreciate everything you've done for Grant County also, and, thank you. I really do thank you. And Mr. Billings, I want to thank you also, but what I really admire about you is when constituents bring something to you, it amazes me the time that you spent researching, the conversations, the articles, the things that you would tell me and to look at, and the devotion that you gave for this position. I truly enjoyed working with you. You brought a lot to this table. Each and every one of you brought a different perspective to this, and I thank you. I really appreciate you. I appreciate the information that you shared, and whatever your research was that you shared, so we could make the best decision we could for our citizens in Grant County. I know as commissioners, and I thank you, Commissioner Billings, I know as commissioners, we don't always agree on everything. We have different points of views. We didn't always vote unanimous. This is what it's about. But I can tell you the respect that we have for each other, no matter what the issue was. I really appreciated that. And I think that with us five up here, it's going to change in January. I hope we can continue what we have, but with you guys, I really enjoyed being up here. I really enjoyed what I learned. We respected each other. I hope that as your chair, and I was the chair for the time, that I was able to give you your voice for your constituents, whether I agreed with it, didn't agree with it, but that you guys felt that this is what it's about, and talking and getting what you needed to get out to the public. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I will be here for you guys for 2 years. If you need anything, please feel free to give me a call. And the friendships we've had together and all that, I appreciate that. And it's sort of like you work in a business for so long, and all of a sudden employees change and you're getting used to other things. I'm really gonna miss you guys. So thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good comment.
Yes, sir.
So kind of tough to follow that, but yeah, really tough. But been here a couple of years now as well. When I started, I kind of thought that I had a big learning curve that I had to come on board real quick. But I saw a lot of stuff in the beginning, and at least I want to thank you. This community, you've done a lot to keep the hospital alive. You kept it going, and I saw your perseverance and your hard work to make sure that happened. And those days I sit there and look at you in meetings and like, why would you do this? Why would you say this? Why would you? And the community appreciates what you did to keep the hospital going, and you made sure that your effort was forth, and you were the leader of that vessel, and we all followed, and it succeeded because of your leadership. And I want to tell you thank you, and I'm pretty sure the whole county appreciates what you did. Harry, you're kind of in the same boat. I agree with Chris. The fine print stuff, there's things that I never thought that were important until I heard you speak, and then they were important, and then it brings light to those things that have to be attended to. So I really appreciate everything you did. Mr. Billings, much respect for you, sir. There's a lot of times I call you and ask you your direction or what you thought, and I appreciate how you offered guidance and helped me grow as well. So
Thank you.
I appreciate all three of you, what you guys did. And the county, you've done amazing things for them. Thank you guys. Mhm.
Thank you. Anything, commissioners, or anybody else? No? Thank you, guys. So moving on to Gila Regional Medical Center report, Mr. Whitaker, CEO.
Okay, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to present. I had an early morning meeting, and honestly, I forgot that it was commissioner meeting when I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning. So I'm just going to say today is National Wear University of Houston Pullover Day. Sheriff, I think I appreciate we're in good company that we have to wear glasses to read the paper in front of us. Just a report here. Discharges for the month of November, we had 121 discharges, so that is more than prior year. Month 105 last month. Admissions has been pretty good so far this year. It's always a double-edged sword when you talk about admissions being good kind of thing, but anyway. Outpatient visits still continue to grow, and we see a lot more patients from our outpatients. We had 5,100 outpatient visits compared to 5,000 last year in the month, and that includes like labs, radiologies, the cardiopulmonary, our cardiology clinic, and the outpatient testing and things like that. ER visits as well was much higher than last year. We had 1,417 ER visits in the month, about 47 patients a day in the emergency room, compared to 1,300 last year. Surgeries were down in the month of November. We had several surgeons just take some time off, much needed time off, and we always encourage our physicians to take time off and take a break and kind of recharge and build up that resiliency. So financial results for the month of November, we had a total net surplus of $379,000 for the month of November. Year to date, we're about $1.7 million net surplus on a year to date basis compared to last year. We had a net loss last year at this point, about $300,000, and so we're about $2 million better than we were last year in what we're doing, and a lot of that's volume related growth. Our net revenue has grown, net patient revenue has grown about $4 million since last year, and year to date through November, and so the hospital is continue to improve and our services and just to make sure that access is available, and we know from time to time we have challenges and we work through those, but things are getting better, and it's good to see that, and we see that in the data, which helps kind of reaffirm the work that we do to make improvements. Days cash, this is an all-in number. This includes the LGIP funds that we have and some CD funds, but 166 days cash is what we have, and so that's kind of where we're sitting. Some of the projects, it's been good. Just over a year in my tenure here, and we've seen quite a few projects that we've been able to start and finish and kind of get over that finish line with. There was the labor and delivery. The orthopedic clinic is up and operating and functioning and doing well. The MRI, we've talked about that, and we finally got approval from HRSA saying the project's good to go, and so we've issued a purchase order. And so at some point, middle of next year, we look to change out the MRI, and there's some things we need to do with the room some shielding and some other stuff, but excited that that project's moving forward and going. We're seeing some equipment come in from our OR HVAC project that's been out there for a while, and so that's starting to come in. We're having some equipment delivered this weekend and kind of set up on the roof. So it's nice to see things moving for that as well. There are a few other projects that, right, we just keep pushing and moving and making sure that they get finished. Our telemetry project that was installed, and it's been a while. It's our IT team has been fantastic, and so telemetry that we made that switch over, and that project is just about wrapped up. Our phone project's just about wrapped up, and so the kind of next big one we have is our nurse call system, and we'll get started on that one as well. And then finally on the building study, so you're aware of this, that we did have a meeting with our contractor on December the 6th. They're about 85% done with this. They came back with some questions. They had some thoughts, and we went through services, needs, and just a variety of stuff with myself, our CNO, and some other leaders that we have. And they're looking to, we've got another meeting early January, and the goal is to have this wrapped up, and so we can present to our board at the January board meeting. And the ultimate goal in this is to present and talk about 4 options that we have with our facility. Option 1 is a do nothing option, and just kind of grit it through and keep making the incremental changes that we need to make. And I'm not sure everyone's in agreement that that's the best option, but when we think about these, option 2 would be to just completely renovate and expand our current building and footprint and what we have. Option 3 is to build new on site, and then option 4 is to build new someplace else. And so those are really what's being considered. They're going to talk about cost considerations, time considerations, things that you would have to do for each one of those options, and allow our board to consider that, and then make a recommendation to you as a commission as well in terms of their recommendation and what we do. So I'm glad that that's moving forward and having progress in that. That's my report for the month, and I thank you for commissioners for your work with the facility over the last however many years that you've been in your seat and with the hospital as well. So much appreciated. But any questions, I stand for.
I'm thinking. No, no, go ahead, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Moving on to elected official reports. Madam Clerk-elect, you have a report? And moving on to our treasurer, Mr. Khan.
Good morning, Chairman Ponce and Commissioners. Before you is the tax maintenance report for the total taxes collected for the month of November is $5,096,170.76. So far for the 2024 tax roll, $5,409,702.71 has been collected, which left the county at a collection percentage of 37.26%. For the total 2024 tax roll, $9,111,851.77 remains uncollected. The total percentage collected for the total 10-year collection as of November 30th, 2024 is 89.27%, of which a total of $113,063,908.25 of taxes were collected. That leaves a total uncollected balance of taxes of $13,593,691.45. The status of the Treasurer's Office. I'm thrilled to announce another successful first half collection of property taxes. I'm deeply grateful to my exceptional staff for their relentless drive and dedication. It's been a privilege working alongside with you, Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Edwards, and Commissioner Billings. I wish you all the very best in your future endeavors. I want to also thank Chairman Ponce and Commissioner Medina for your continued support, and I'm looking forward to leading alongside with you next year. To everyone in the county, I extend my warmest wishes for a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Before I present my November report for the month of November, the Sheriff's Office was dispatched to a total of 422 calls for service. We had a total of 1,214 self-initiated calls for the month. Some of the calls that we were responded to, we had 2 burglaries, we had 9 domestic disturbances, we investigated 14 traffic crashes, we did have 18 reckless driver calls, 12 unwanted subject calls, and our animal control had 38 calls for service. Cases of interest, I'd like to present one of them that we're kind of dealing with quite a bit. On November 23rd, 2024, at approximately 11:14 hours, deputies working Stone Garden operations were stationed on Highway 26 near mile marker 1. While in this area, deputies observed a gray Ford Expedition with a line of vehicles behind it and appeared to be traveling below the speed limit. On the report, deputies observed both the driver and the passenger of the car turn their head as one deputy looked into the passing vehicle. One deputy continued to follow behind the line of vehicles at a speed of 45 miles per hour for approximately 3 miles. During that time, the speed limit had changed to 65 miles per hour and all the vehicles behind the Ford had passed it, only leaving a semi-truck behind it. The gray Ford was displaying a temporary license plate, and the deputy following the vehicle ran the temporary license plate through Central Dispatch and was advised the temporary license plate did not have a return. The deputy initiated their emergency lights and conducted a traffic stop at mile marker 5. As the deputy conducted the traffic stop, the driver's door opened. The driver exited the driver's seat and approached the deputy conducting the traffic stop. At this moment, other deputies were on scene to assist. One deputy on scene was able to run the VIN number via Central Dispatch, and soon after, Central Dispatch reported the vehicle to be stolen. The driver and passenger were placed in investigative detention while deputies conducted their investigation. Meanwhile, during the investigative process, deputies on scene observed 4 other individuals lying in the back of the vehicle who were also undocumented. Deputies contacted U.S. Border Patrol for assistance. Deputies turned over all individuals to Border Patrol, and the driver was charged with possession of a stolen vehicle. And the reason why I bring that up is that we've been dealing with that quite a bit. And that's why the Stone Garden grant is so important for us to have, is that we're utilizing it to assist with all this that's going on. We see a lot of it coming up here in this area, so fortunately we got approved for the fiscal year 24 grant, and we're going to start concentrating a little bit more. Fortunately, we're at the beck and call of the Border Patrol when these operations are done, so they kind of schedule us where the manpower is needed. We're a second line of defense to the Border Patrol, so a lot of times you'll see our guys down towards Deming, and that's because of the concentration and the heavy influx of the issues that they're having down there. And being that they're paying our overtime, that's where they're utilizing us in those areas. But I have had meetings with them, and we are requesting to spend a little more time in our county up here. And with that being said, as you guys approved fiscal year 24 Stone Garden, we are bringing on 2 friendly forces to help us in our area, which is going to be Silver City PD, and Baird PD are also going to be helping with this Stone Garden operation. So you're going to be seeing SCPD units and Baird units out of their jurisdictions, and they do have the authority under our MOU that we are signing in with them, and they are going to be cross-commissioned. And that's how we work As far as my deputies working in Luna and Hidalgo County, is we have a cross commission with the sheriffs from those counties, and that's how we're able to help each other out in our jurisdictions. So in case you guys get calls or complaints about why is there a city unit on 180 West, that's going to be the reason they're going to be concentrating on that Stone Garden operation, because we do have a lot of traffic going up 180 West towards Catron County. Catron County has been receiving a lot of these up there as well, where they're getting these vehicles. And these vehicles are not, a lot of them are not stopping, which creates an issue for us. But, you know, we're dealing with it as best as we can. So that's the reason why I brought that one to your attention. So in case any questions come about why you see other units in certain areas, that's going to be the reason. Go back. I just did want to report that as far as Stone Garden, we did get that amount of $253,000 that was approved for those operations. And Barrett and Silver City will be partaking starting January 1 of this next year. In regards to DA grant funding, my fugitive apprehension unit has been recently started back up working that. And what we're doing with that is we were awarded $40,000 from the DA's office to initiate warrant arrests on outstanding warrants that are in our county that haven't been served in a while or that are recently been issued out. So I have a team that's been out there doing that, and they're doing a really good job. I hope to have you a report with stats on how many arrests and how many warrants we have cleared utilizing this grant. I'm hoping to have that for you for January's meeting to give you an update of what we did for the last year in regards to how many arrests were made out of that funding. Also, I did want to report in regards to our fleet. We did recently, with the help of the county manager, I thank her for her diligent work on this. We were able to receive 5 new Ford Explorers, and we did also receive 3 F-150 trucks, and we're also going to receive another new vehicle through the Stone Garden grant that you guys recently approved, that hopefully will approve on this meeting today. So that's going to be a total of 9 units that we're looking at bringing onto our fleet. The unfortunate thing is that trying to get them equipped has been a challenge, because every vendor that we've gone to has a stockpile of units they're trying to equip. So we're kind of like on the back burner trying to get them equipped, but as soon as they get equipped, they'll be put out on the fleet. So I thank you, County Manager, for doing what you do to help us. I know that it's going to be a challenge to get them equipped, but with your support, I think we'll get there eventually. And the commission as well. You know, you guys have been an advocate for us to be able to get what we need, the tools that we need to be able to do our job. And I thank you all for what you do. And I know that it'll continue because it's something that I've always said is that it's something that I need. It's not because I want it, it's because I need it. And you guys have been real supportive of it. So thank you for that. The last thing is I do want to thank my staff from the Sheriff's Office for all their hard work that they do day in and day out in the county to ensure the county is receiving proper assistance out there for their needs. And then also, I did want to recognize Scott for his diligent work in our emergency manager. For the people that don't know Scott, he has been diligently working with my office, with one of my lieutenants on our radio communications. And I'm very thankful for the hard work that he continues to do for us. And we have seen a lot of progress and a lot of good things coming with our communications, because that is our lifeline out there. We need to make sure we have good communications. And he's been very adamant and very involved in trying to get our repeaters fixed, worked on. We're looking at other locations to get repeaters, and he's been a very good asset on that. And so thank you, Scott, for all your hard work and what you do for us. And lastly, I do want to thank the commission. I had the privilege of working with you before I retired, and then I came back and I had the privilege of working with you again. And you guys have been a good role model to me. I mean, you guys hold me accountable, because I always would get questions and concerns that were brought to your attention, and you would forward them to me. And I really appreciate that you guys would reach out to me, and I would get back with you and let you guys know why what happened or how we can address it and how things could get done, you know. And I I respect that. You respected my office as well, and I thank you for that, because you guys made a difference, and I think working together, us as elected officials do need to work together, and because we're here to do the same thing for the community. So I thank you all for your leadership. Any questions you had, I'd answer them as best as I could for you guys, but I also want to thank you and wish you the best on your future endeavors. I know we'll still, I open for you guys to reach out to me. I'm sure you're still going to get calls from constituents, but please, my door is always open. You're always welcome to call, come visit, send me an email, and I will get back with you. Other than that, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sheriff. Really appreciate it. Happy holidays to you, your family, and your staff.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Just want to take a minute and thank you, Sheriff, for getting the deputies out in the rural areas. That's been a big accomplishment, and that's probably been the most appreciation I've heard from constituents about your office. And thank you for the cooperation with the commission, and also Mr. Khan, and both the clerk and clerk-elect. You guys ran a good election. I heard a lot of good things from, and I talked to, I don't know how to describe them, but maybe the disgruntled other side, who usually has a lot of complaints, and they were happy with the way you ran the election, and I really appreciate the cooperation from your three offices. I know you're elected officials in your own right. You have no, we're not in authority over you. We're just fellow elected officials, but appreciate the cooperation. And I think that's the way it should work. And I think that's the way it has with all three of your offices. So thank you. And Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
So, I also want to thank all three of you and the current county clerk for the great job that you guys do. Is certainly a challenge to be an elected official, as we all know, and you guys exemplify service to community, and really appreciate that. I want to also mention that in addition to all that Sheriff Villanueva does in relation to law enforcement specifically, and I appreciate Mr. Billings mentioning getting deputies out into the rural communities. That is so much better than it was. But I also want to acknowledge that what you do isn't just about law enforcement, but about community support. And I've called on you a number of times over these last years to support the community, and you have done that wholeheartedly and very willingly, you and your staff. And I think that's maybe the hidden side of what the sheriff does, and it shouldn't be, because ultimately what the sheriff's office does is serve the community in a way that other offices do not. So thank you so much for that, Sheriff Villanueva and your staff. Appreciate all of you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Moving on. Next item is consideration of the consent agenda. Remember, on item 7, the indigent healthcare claims is just for October.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with the change as noted to delete November from item number 7.
Second?
So motion by Commissioner Edwards, second by Commissioner Brown. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to new business, dedication of Path of Bataan Memorial Park. Vice Chair, go ahead.
Just with the motion, did you want discussion?
Go ahead, motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve as presented, please.
I'll second. Do we have any discussion?
Mr. Chair. So after a discussion with the family, they just asked, I'm gonna have to get with Jason today, they've asked that the plaque be just put up, and they're gonna just have a private ceremony amongst the family members that when they all get together over the holidays, that they'll be visiting the site, and they're pretty excited about it, and they wanted me to tell all of you, thank you very much, it means a lot in the world to them. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the lead on that.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Mr. Stevens.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to item F, the appointment of the 4 members to the Two-Casa Advisory Board. I'd like to make a motion to table.
Second?
So I made the motion, Commissioner Billings, second. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries, item is tabled. Under item G, consideration of purchase of a 4,000 gallon tanker for the Cliff Gila Fire Department.
Move for approval, Mr. Chair.
Second?
So I have a motion by Commissioner Billings, I have a second by Commissioner Edwards. Do we have any discussion?
I just want to thank Manager Webb, and we have Fire Chief Preston Johnson with us from Cliff Gila today. He's made some incredible changes in his short tenure out there, and I see Scott's shaking his head behind you. So that's really great. We appreciate it. I know the Cliff Gila community appreciates it, and right on up to the state fire marshal. So thank you for doing that, Preston, and making that department work, and thank your volunteers also.
Commissioner Medina.
So I want to just kind of jump on what he said. Preston, I appreciate what you and your people have done out there. It's amazing. Not only from the fire side, but from the EMS side as well. And I think anything that we can help you with, please let us know. You guys have made a huge impact out there serving that community down both avenues. And please extend this to your people. Thank you so much. That's all I got.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to agreements, consideration of Agreement A-24-52. It's a DWI grant in the amount of $124,000.
Move that we approve as presented.
Second?
So I have a motion by Commissioner Edwards, I have a second by Commissioner Brown. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Under agreements, consideration of Agreement A-24-54. It's Amplify Fund, statewide. This was presented by Ms. Montoya there.
I move approval of agreement A-2454.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Brown, second by Commissioner Edwards. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. J, consideration of Agreement A-24-55. It's a governmental service agreement between the State of New Mexico Energy, Mineral, and Natural Resource Department and Grant County Office of Emergency Management. And that was for the 185K.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve as presented.
Second?
So I have a motion by Commissioner Edwards, second by Commissioner Billings. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Under item K, it's going to be consideration of Agreement A-24-56. It's the State of New Mexico Homeland Security and Emergency Management for the off-cycle money for the Operation Stone Garden.
Move for approval, Mr. Chair.
Second.
So a motion by Commissioner Billings, second by Commissioner Medina. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to item L, consideration of Agreement A-24-57, State of DFA, General Fund, the appropriation money for the detention center, which was, I believe, in 100,000.
Mr. Chair, I wonder if we could take all 4 of these agreements together that are all capital appropriation projects? Is there any problem with doing
All
that?
the same fund.
No. So it'd be item L, consideration of Agreement A-24-57, Agreement A-24-58, and A-24-59.
And A-2460,
And
unless you
A-
want to treat that separately. It's Baton Park capital appropriation. They're all
They're all the same.
capital appropriations. And I'd like to move that we approve all 4 of those agreements.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Brown, second by Commissioner Edwards, on all the approval of all the agreements that we just mentioned. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to resolution, consideration of resolution R-24-58, authorizing Grant County as physical agent for the Gila Basin Irrigation Commission funding agreement.
Make a move to approve.
I'll second the motion.
So a motion by Commissioner Medina, second by Commissioner Brown. Do we have any discussion?
Thanks again for taking this on. Appreciate it.
I also want to acknowledge Destry Shelley has put in an incredible amount of her own time since the day the floods started happening. I saw her at the legislature. She just, I mean, it wouldn't have happened, really, without Destry Shelley. And I just want to acknowledge her and thank her for all of her hard work.
Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Under item Q, consideration of a budget adjustment request, resolution R-24-59.
Move approval.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Brown, second by Commissioner Edwards. Do we have any discussion?
I have a question on every one of those stacks of paper. I'm just kidding. I'm good, thank you.
Okay,
For those of you who weren't present on Tuesday, the stack is like this.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to item R, consideration of resolution R-24-60, specifying the salaries of elected officials and chief deputies in Grant County, New Mexico.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Medina, I have a second by Commissioner Billings. Do we have any discussion?
I hope our successors appreciate the extra $20 a month or so that they're gonna get.
At the rate things are going, it'll buy them a cup of coffee.
That's right.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Aye, motion carries. Moving on to commissioner reports. Commissioner Medina, do you have a report?
I just want to wish everybody in the community safe holidays and a happy new year.
Okay. Commissioners Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank you, Commissioner Medina, again for your very kind words earlier. It has likewise been an honor for me to serve with the two of you and with the other commissioners we've had here. Tell you one thing that has always been clear to me with this commission, I have never had to worry that any of our disagreements were based on anything other than difference of opinion about what is best for the residents of Grant County. I have 100% faith. You guys, that is what drives what you do, and I really respect that and appreciate it. It has made working here, all these meetings, all of our discussions meaningful rather than just annoying or frustrating. Everybody has the best interests of our residents at heart, and I really appreciate that. Couldn't resist the temptation to leave you my thoughts for your next few years. You are welcome to ignore them as soon as I shut up. But, you know, there are some big issues that we're still facing. Some, I guess, I would consider kind of new to my awareness, and others you've heard me talk about before. And if you'll indulge me, I want to give you 6 things that I hope are in your minds, on your agenda for the next few years. One was really prompted by an article just 2 days ago in the New York Times, of all places. And this article is about the National problem of insurance companies canceling homeowners insurance. And guess where the opening paragraph takes place? Silver City, New Mexico. A gentleman who's had his insurance canceled because his insurance company decided that wildfire was too much of a risk here. This is a big issue. It's going to get bigger and bigger. It interferes with people's ability to purchase a house, certainly, but also to sell their house, also to even maintain their existing mortgages on a house. It has the potential to be a huge problem for our residents. And I know we're doing a lot. Just today, we've approved 2 things that help address wildfire issues. We've got an emergency manager who's doing a great job of addressing these issues, but it's going to continue. And the one thing that I'm mildly hopeful we will be able to address as a commission that could help with this issue is the question of junkyards. And I know we've discussed it and we're all concerned about it. To me, a piece of the answer is zoning. And that's a word that this commission has avoided as long as I've been aware of what this commission has been doing for the last 30 years or so. I think it's time to consider zoning and actually say there are certain areas where certain commercial activities should not occur. I have other things to add on to junkyards in my book, but the main thing I think is preventing fires, and that's a piece that y'all could consider taking on after I leave. Some of these are, no more than one word or 2. The hospital. It's going to stay on your agenda. And I wish you the best of luck in figuring out the commission's role in making sure this county continues to have a hospital. I think it's one of our successes as a commission. Thank you. From me also, Ms. Edwards, you led us all in saving that hospital and put in a huge amount of time and emotional energy. And despite the 166 days in cash, it's still precarious in different ways, not financial. One you've heard me talk about, recreation and trails. We still haven't implemented our master plan. I think this is a gem of this area in a way that we could continue to grow our economy and attract visitors, not too many, a good number of visitors, and also improve our own residents' quality of life. I think that the trail between Santa Clara and Baird has been a success. I've heard other people with different impressions, but I always see people using it. And I'm personally extremely happy they're no longer on the shoulder of the highway, endangering themselves and endangering other people. And I think we can do something to connect the rest of our communities in a similar way. That's a big item on your agenda. I think it was 7 years ago, before either of you were on this board, that this commission voted to join PNM's Solar Direct program. I see Mr. Ashburn in a different position now, but he helped the commission join that program. That means something upward of 60% of our county's electrical use is being covered by solar generation, if I remember my numbers correctly. There's still more we could do. This community, this region has a huge solar potential, and I encourage you to continue to look for ways to complete so that we're 100% renewable energy. Here's one you have heard me talk about. This is one of those mundane things, but the assessor's office needs help. That office could be generating considerably more revenue if it had the human resources to conduct statistical assessment updates that would allow it to update values without conducting on-site appraisals, assessments every year on properties, but we haven't got the staff with the training to take that on legally yet. I urge you to look into helping that office accomplish that. And last, next month, this commission will have an opportunity that occurred in our case, 4 different times, to grant a rebate to low-income property owners who pay property taxes. I understand we've debated all the issues that make us wary of doing that. I continue to be convinced it is the right thing to do. You all know low-income residents in this county struggle to pay utilities, pay for their groceries, pay medical bills. And I want you to imagine a year later, if you pass this in January of 2026, some number, a few hundred, I don't think it's more than that, of our residents will receive a check from the state rebating the property taxes they paid the year before, part of them, allowing them to maybe repair their car, fix their roof, or just, have a little breathing room in their monthly budgets. I really wish we'd managed to pass that before, and by now we'd be getting the data to see if in fact it's a problem or not. Something you can fix a couple of years later if you need to. But I'm really convinced it's the right thing to do in our community, and I encourage you to consider it strongly next month. Thank you for listening to me, and best of luck in the rest of your tenures.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. I will look into all these things for you, and I will sleep on the last one. How does that sound? And I wrote them down. So it's like I told you guys before, if you have something that you feel that you didn't accomplish or want to accomplish, please let us know. We're more than willing to look at what we can do.
I regret that.
It's all right. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for those comments, Mr. Brown. And before I start my comments, I just want to follow up on one of the things you said. I do support all of your issues and appreciate you taking the time to bring those up. That's not quite the direction that my comments are going to go. But there was one thing that I wanted to mention, and it's sort of two-part, but it's related to the insurance thing. Not only are people suffering from the things that you mentioned, not being able to get a mortgage, not being able to buy a house or sell a house, but the insurance issue is rendering people homeless. This is primarily happening in Florida related to hurricanes, now probably in North Carolina and other places. But the connection is that insurance companies are refusing to insure manufactured or mobile housing after disasters. And there are many, especially in Florida, thousands of cases of people who purchased manufactured housing and then insurance companies stopped insuring them, and then they had a disaster, and then they couldn't replace their housing. And that is an issue here in Grant County. It is a potential issue here in Grant County for two reasons. One is because we currently have a lot of manufactured housing in the county, but two, because manufactured housing is being discussed significantly as a way to provide housing for unhoused people. And the connection there is not just insurance, but it is that people are relying on corporations that own the land underneath their housing. And this is a huge issue in Arizona right now. Seniors are losing their housing because in the last 4 years, the average increase in the cost of the lease underneath their housing has quadrupled. And so these things are all connected, and they're all going to affect the future of low-income and senior residents of Grant County. So thanks for bringing that up. So I'm going to start by actually thanking Brett Caston, Ron Hall, and Gabriel Ramos for their work on making sure that we had a 5-member commission in Grant County. I think much of what has been said already and all of what I'm going to say is directly related to the change in how the commission worked with 5 members. So I just want to acknowledge that. I think the county is a better place for having 5-member commission. I'm not entirely sure the county manager would agree with that sometimes, as we can be like 5 squirrels running around in different directions. But I do think it has made the county, the governance of the county better. I want to thank my colleagues for all the reasons that have been mentioned. I have deeply appreciated getting to know each of you and the previous commissioners that I served with. I have learned so much about collegiality, cooperation, about community, about how different perspectives can work together. And to repeat what Mr. Brown said, I am 110% sure that every day, every single commissioner that I have worked with in the 8 years that I've been here has one thing at heart, and that is what is best for this community. And considering what I have seen in other local governments, that is a rare and precious thing. And I deeply appreciate doing that with all of you, and really hope that our incoming commission is as committed to that as I know the 2 of you are. I want to thank, I kind of already did this, but I want to thank the other elected officials. Really, really appreciate the job that you do and how you serve our community. Thank you very much. And I would include the current county clerk in that. I want to thank county staff. The commission, so one of the things that I think, one of the most difficult things for commissioners to learn is that they don't actually have any say in what happens with county staff. The county manager answers to the commission, but it is incumbent upon us not to get involved in personnel matters. But I will say this. I think managing a staff this size is a very challenging endeavor for everyone involved, for all the levels of management involved, for all of the staff involved. It goes both directions, the challenges. But I think we have a truly extraordinary staff. The changes that I have seen over the 8 years that I've been a commissioner are pretty astonishing. We talk every year about raises and how we're going to manage that. We talk all the time about the increases in expenses and the fact that our revenue isn't increasing at the same pace. We have had some incredibly difficult conversations about how to manage those things from a budgetary perspective. And I think the perspective of all of the county staff in assisting us in doing that has been invaluable. And I would say the same thing about the county staff as I did about the commissioners. There is no doubt in my mind that everyone who works for the county, and I mentioned this on Tuesday, I'm going to include all of the people that volunteer for our volunteer fire departments, have one thing at the top of their mind, and that is, what can we do to make sure that we are doing what is the very best thing we can do for county residents? I want to acknowledge that I don't think anybody really understands how difficult the job is of the county manager. It's hard, I think, to overstate how many balls she has in the air at all times, all day, every day. and not just dealing with the commission. And oftentimes, I think the commission certainly, even with the most well-meaning intention, does nothing but complicate the county manager's job. But I think we have an excellent county manager, and I am fully aware that there are many challenges that come with that job, but I just want to acknowledge Charlene Webb. I think you're doing a great job, and thank you very much for what you do for our community. And I am going to, so I didn't have 6 things that I wanted to talk to, but I do have one, and that is, oddly enough, the hospital. I was reminiscing with Billy before the meeting started that the first meeting that Billy and I and Harry ever had was when we were at commission school in December of 2016. And at some point during that meeting, I realized that we could meet together because we were not a quorum until we were sworn in. And so the 3 of us met with the county manager and the county attorney at the time and began the conversation about what was going on with the hospital. And 9 commissioners have been involved in the conversation with the hospital over time. It has taken an incredible amount of time and dedication and many, many meetings. I want to acknowledge how grateful I am that all of you made and kept that commitment. Is truly important. And most of all, I want to acknowledge how grateful I am for the support and service of Mr. Billings as the vice chair of the governing board. We had a lot of conversations. Many of them very difficult, very challenging. I deeply appreciated your perspective, Billy, and your support. We didn't agree on many things about the hospital, but what we did was always talk about them, the 5 of us. We had some incredibly long and difficult executive sessions, and what I always knew in all of those meetings was that our allegiance was to saving the hospital for the betterment of the community. And what I want to say going forward is that I am not convinced to this day that we truly understand the importance of that hospital to this community. I think we do. But I'm not convinced that the community understands the impact of what would happen if something bad happened to that hospital. I can't imagine what we would do without EMS, without our obstetrics. How far would people have to go to have a baby? What would happen if we didn't have a level 4 trauma emergency center in this community? And it isn't, when I say this community, it isn't just Grant County. We serve Catron County, Luna County, Hidalgo County, and probably parts of Sierra as well. We have a number of very important institutions in this community that form the backbone of our economic well-being: the mines, the university, the school districts, the hospital in terms of an employer. But none of those entities will be able to survive in this community without that hospital. The mines could do a better job because they potentially would have the resources to get people to other places. But even still, we simply would not have a viable, economically healthy community if we don't have that hospital. And it is our civic responsibility, every single one of us, every member of this community, it is your civic responsibility to be involved in how that hospital is going to be successful. And in closing, I want to remind everybody that there is a difference between truths and perspectives and facts. And there are many, many, many different perspectives and many different truths about the hospital. But there is also an underlying set of facts that are related to how complex healthcare is today, how incredibly difficult it is to run a hospital, and the imminent threat of venture capital organizations that want to buy hospitals and strip them of their services for their own profitability. It's happening all over the country. It's happening in New Mexico. And I forget, actually, probably thankfully, how many rural hospitals have closed since the five of us have been dealing with the commission, dealing with the hospital. But it's a lot, approaching 200. And so we have a gem of an asset that our community depends on. And that asset depends on every single one of us to participate somehow, some way, in making sure that it goes forward in a viable, healthy, thriving way in order to serve everyone in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Edwards. Commissioner Billings.
Yeah, thank you. I want to thank everyone, Commissioner Ponce, Medina, Mr. Brown, and Alicia, and the former commissioners that we worked with. It's Alicia and I were discussing that it seemed like it's been a short 8 years, but a long 8 years. Seems like longer than that, and some ways shorter than that. But I wanted to discuss basically three things really quickly. One is the county staff, and we Commissioner Edwards mentioned a lot of names and staff members on Tuesday, so I won't repeat that, but ditto to that. I'm thinking of some we missed, and I really don't want to mention names, but because I'll leave some out. But Corey Caminos is something that we didn't talk about when I first became a commissioner. That thing was financially bankrupt also, and Charlene was making some incredible plans to pull that out of bankruptcy. It didn't take long, and it was just a financial mess. Over $1 million, I think. 1.2 million or something is the number. That's a long time ago. And so thanks to Kim and Charlene for that. So interestingly enough, I have a perspective about the road department lately, and I was going to talk about that before the public comments this morning, but I should have got some information from you. But I've met one. I think, Charlene, would you correct me if I'm wrong? You have two managers. How does that work, please?
We have 2 supervisors now.
2 supervisors, and I met one of them, the new supervisor. Really impressed. I was impressed with the work that they were doing. The operator that's been working on our road for years was really impressed with her new supervisor and the support and training that she was getting from him. And her and I talk every once in a while, seeing some work that they were doing on a couple of roads. I was impressed by that. They actually got to the problems before the constituents are reporting them and type of thing. I would like to mention his name. He was so impressive. Who's the south of town?
Sean Carrasco.
Carrasco. And the other one is?
Tommy Rios.
Okay. Anyhow, these guys are impressive, and the work that's being done in the road department has never been better in the 8 years. And that goes with a lot of the departments. And so I know that there's been some people leave lately. And like you say, we don't get involved in personnel matters, but overall, the quality of the people and the work ethic of the people in the county has really changed for the better. That includes the elected officials and the work that's going on in your department since I've been here. It's not just my perspective. It's a definite change. And I thank all of you and the county manager for your leadership and being able to call it luck or skill or whatever. And I know it's not just luck, because I've tried to hire, I've hired people before too, and it's hard to find the right people for the right job. And I thank you all that have stepped in and are doing such a good job. And thank Manager Webb. I'm glad that we were able to be so fortunate as to have you come back. It was a rough patch when you weren't here in the county, and so we appreciate you coming back. Wanted to also mention, make brief comments about the hospital. I think I consider that to, if I had to pick one thing, I think that would be the biggest success. They talked about when we took the hospital over and were told we couldn't do it, and thank you, and I could mention names as to, and we could go through that process in detail, but I want to thank Commissioner Ponce and Brown and Edwards for the significant roles they had in that. I think back on that, and some of you did things that we were told you can't do, and we had to do. 10 days of cash on hand when we took it back over, but there was, in my memory, it was $4.8 million in accounts payable that they were behind. So that negates the 10 days of cash, and that means the hospital was bankrupt. And that's all there is to it. And we even got some kudos from some of the board members at that time who realized that it was a mess, and the hospital is important to our community. And so now though things haven't been perfect, and I'm one of the worst critics of sometimes of the management company, I've always believed that some sort of a management company with national resources is the solution. I know the 160 days of cash on hand is, while it's great, it's been a source of contention with the commission, but I am glad to see that Health Tech is reinvesting in the hospital. And I understand a little bit better now why the days of cash on hand are sitting there, as the new Board of Trustees, and I appreciate them too, are considering exploring the process of where they're going to go with the hospital. Are they going to, if we're going to build a new hospital, you're going to need some cash. I don't know that it'll end up going that way, but whatever expansion, they're going to need some money, and it's come a long ways from, at least financially, from where they were to where they are today. Certainly when you go up there, different people have different experiences. I've heard a lot of positive experiences and a lot that are not positive. We're not a big city. We're not the Mayo Clinic, but appreciate the people that work up there, and I want to thank my fellow commissioners for all the hard work that we did. I think that was probably, if I had to pick one thing, that'd be our biggest success. Anyhow, thank you. And before I go a little bit negative, I'll say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. And then I'll talk really briefly about probably what would be the biggest unleft item of business that wasn't really for this commission, but that happened while we served as commissioners. And that was, I think, 2021, it's been so far ago now, HB 200, where, well-meaning as it might have been, our state senator and some others extracted $90 million out of this 4-county area, give or take 6 or 8 million, whatever it was, and gave it to the State Water Trust Board. And some of us knew at that time that I thought it'd be 2 years before we ever saw any of that money. It's almost been 4 years now. And as far as I know, we haven't seen a penny of that money. So I don't know what the solution is other than Chairman Ponce and Vice Chair Eloy to get with Lieutenant Governor Morales or someone. They were successful in getting an appointment to our, oh my gosh, Priscilla Lucero on the State Water Trust Board, but she's the only one south of I-40, I've been told, that's on that board. And I know they're developing a process, but during the time of trying to develop the process for this, that money belongs to these 4 counties. And primarily, if you go by population, Grant County would be the biggest recipient of that money. Meanwhile, unfortunately, as we know, the cost of projects has skyrocketed, and it's not 20%, it's not 50%, it could be 100% or more. So that $90 million doesn't have the same buying power that it did in 2021, almost 4 years ago. And unfortunately, and I will concede that the New Mexico CAP entity and the Arizona Water Settlements Act itself had some problems, for sure. But at least some of that money had been spent on local water projects in the millions, maybe 9 to 12 million, depending on, I'm throwing numbers pretty loosely here, I understand, but so I don't know if the 4 county governments can get back together and form some sort of an organization that would work with Lieutenant Governor or whoever to get that money back. I don't know. I really don't know what the solution is. I just know that it's a huge unanswered problem, and that's a huge amount of money that can be tapped into. So I'll close with that, and thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So, yeah, no, and I've been asking questions on that too, Commissioner Billings, and it is a little frustrating for everybody, but you know, there's money out there, and I think the one that really, I guess, sticks in my side the most is that we have all that money, which I think Commissioner Brown and Commissioner Medina are part of the Grant County Water Board, or whatever it's called. But you know, what really gets to me is that everybody talks about, you know, not everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, but certain people talk about groundwater and the mine and this and that, but yet us elected officials, and I'm talking city, county, state, federal, can't get some of that money to get water to Hurley. And that water's been given to Hurley. The mine has turned around and given water rights to some of these communities. They've done more than, and I include myself in this, than us elected officials. So I've been keeping on track of that, and I know everybody's hearing me that, you know, we've failed one of our communities, which is Hurley. And I think we need to do a better job and get some of that money in, but you know how it is. And the reason that I've always put a board together of 3, 4, 5 people that we try to accomplish something is because when you get into the government, wheels of justice turn slow, and all of a sudden, let's put a board together to see what color the carpet is, let's put a board together to see what color the walls are, and we never accomplish anything. So hopefully we can get that done, and to all you commissioners, I have written down some of the stuff that you guys have said, and I've told you from the very beginning, whatever you can accomplish, I will do my best to try to help you all and accomplish what we need to. On another note here is, you know, everybody's been talking about the hospital, and rightfully so. So I really look forward to seeing your applications for trustees here soon and getting involved. Not all of you at the same time, because then I'll have to abstain because I will not make that decision. But I think with you guys up here and the expertise that you have and what you've learned from the hospital, I really appreciate what everybody's done here. You know, and everybody knows, and I've been one of the biggest critics about the hospital and the management company. You know, and what was thrown out, and I had to bite my tongue sitting up here a while ago. You know, and I hope that the Board of Trustees is listening, or at least go back, or somebody, but, you know, I'm hearing about building a hospital, I'm hearing about expanding the hospital, I'm hearing about this. I'm more about talking foundation. You know, when you build something, you don't build it from the roof down, you go from the bottom up. The foundation is the most important. I hope that they do not throw something at the Board of Commissioners or the new commissioners. I have no idea how they're gonna feel about the hospital and building and expanding and doing this until they get a handle on the revenue cycle, until they get a handle on their emergency room, until they fix, you know, getting appointments for our public, to get mammograms, to get MRIs, to get this. I think that should be right now the most important thing for our trustees to be looking at and doing. 160 days, 166 days, I believe is what what they said. You know, we as commissioners have said over and over, and I think every one of us is using some of that money for capital. Well, nobody's listening to us. Our Board of Trustees aren't listening to us. This health tech is not listening to us. So before I would even entertain or have a Board of Trustees come to me with a plan about a new hospital, do I think maybe we need a new hospital? Yes. Do I think we need to expand? Yes. Do I think we need to bring services? Yes. But I think we need to do better and bring better services to our community and fix some of the things. Some of this to me is low-lying fruit. And I think once they do that, then I think, I have no idea what's happening in January, but at least I will not entertain anything from them until we get a report on these items being fixed. So, and I don't know, I'm open to you commissioners and tell me if I'm wrong, but we need to do that. And there's a lot of work that we need to do. You know, one thing too that, and I wish you would have been here, our county clerk, I really want to tell her, Marisa Castillo, and she'd be retiring at the end of December 31st, and I wish she would have been here, but I really appreciate what she's done. I appreciate her staff and all the work that she has done for Grant County, the elections, keeping our meetings legal, recording, so forth, so on. So if you're out there, County Clerk, I really appreciate what you've done, and congratulations on your retirement at the end of the year. And thank you for all, and thank you for not only for, you know, letting us know what the county clerk does, and letting us know the legalities of it and how we can only function as commissioners through her, and through recording our minutes, recording our meetings, and doing all that. I really appreciate that, and congratulations to our new clerk-elect, and I know she will continue doing the same, and we really appreciate that. And for everyone out there, Merry Christmas, have a safe holiday. And commissioners, thank you all. I appreciate, and thank you for teaching me and developing me, and whatever I can be of assistance, always call me. You all know that. And again, I'm going to throw this out again. I really look forward to seeing your applications on all these boards, because you know, I'd really like to work with you all again. Thank you.
Thank you.
And everybody, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, stay safe out there, and we're going to be going into executive session unless any other commissioner has anything else to say. Okay, may I get a motion to go into executive session in accordance with NMSA 1978, Section 10-15-1, Sub-H and 7. So I had a motion by Commissioner Medina, second by Commissioner Edwards. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Madam Clerk, could you please, roll call, please?
Chairman and Commissioners, are you all aware you're entering into executive session? Chairman Ponce?
Yes.
Commissioner Medina?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Billings?
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards?
Okay. We will be going into executive session. I don't see any action, so thank you all.